bodily differentiations among all varieties of living entities. But a devotee should not distinguish between one living entity and another on such a basis. A devotee's outlook should be that both the soul and the super soul are equally present in all varieties of living entities. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So here Lord Kapila is, the last few verses also, bringing about the separatist vision of a conditioned living entity and explaining how the super soul is situated in everyone's heart equally, and the living entities, whatever differences are there, were manifest in the body, in the mind, etc. of the living entity, they're all caused by the differentiations in the material energy and not due to any differentiation in the spirit or the soul. Not only the super soul is the same in all living entity, the quality of the soul also in all living entity is the same, except that they are associating with illusion to different degrees, or some living entities are completely disassociating with the variegatedness of their own body, their own mind. They very clearly know that it is all material nature. They don't associate and identify themselves with, no, this is me, this is the way I think, this is my idea, my intelligence. No, they don't. They see that as this is my yantra's intelligence, my yantra's idea, my yantra's, because everything prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha, everything is carried out by the three modes of material nature, and the living entity is a kshetrajna, is a knower of this variegatedness. So in that sense, a living entity is a knower and willer. He knows and wills. Just like in a dream, what we know the dream and we will. The willing faculty is active. The content of the dream is actually not directly connected to you. Similarly, the abilities in the dream, how the dream comes about, you have no control. In dream also we think, but actually we don't think. You know, it's some brain function, it is thinking from our impressions. But we identify with the thinking of the yantra, we identify with the feeling of the yantra, we identify with the willing of the yantra, thinking, feeling, willing of the yantra. So the thinking, feeling and willing of every living entity in this material world, whether from tamoguna to sattoguna, is actually happening in the field of activities. And the living entity is guided by the super soul to fulfill his desires in this illusory world. So in that sense, if someone, here it is said, that I cause great fear to whoever makes least discrimination between himself and other living entities. We are spirit souls. When we are the spirit souls, then the other person is also a spirit soul. And the differences in his body, his mind, his egos and all those things, these are all in the field of material energy. So the soul is the same, just like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, one who sees the same soul everywhere in all the bodies, that is a sattvic way of seeing that means that is the truth. And because the soul's misuse of free will, he is getting different types of bodies, different kinds of thinking. Now the thing is, how can we reconcile these two things? Because there is a fact, it is a fact that there are so many personal differences between one person and another person. At a macro level, when we see, I am different, you are different, everybody is different, looks different, different outlook, different thinking, different etc., etc. Differences are there. Now it is said that if the blazing fire, I can cause fear to whoever makes the least discrimination between himself and other living entities. That means you don't become free from fear of death unless, even if you have least discrimination between himself and other living entities. So how can we live without differentiating? That is possible by accepting the truth the way it is. What is the truth? There are two realities. There is a Vyavaharic reality and there is Paramarthik reality. The Paramarthik reality, you cannot differentiate one soul from another soul. The super soul is seated in everybody's heart. And repeatedly we have seen several times in Bhagavatam, the teaching is there, that super soul is equal to all living entities. But he reciprocates according to the way they approach him. So the differences are there in the material world, or the differences manifest in the body, mind, ego, and all this kind of the entire material system. So the differences in the material system one can have a Vyavaharik drishti, because that is a relative truth. I look different, you look different. Just after reading this, I cannot say that, I should not discriminate. You look exactly like me. How can I tell false things? You don't look like me. You don't think like me. But somewhere there is equality. Where is that equality? At the Paramarthik level, there is equality. We are all part and parcel of Krishna. How much of your personality is peeping out of this yantra is corresponding to your original Paramarthik identity, Paramarthik consciousness, that is different. A pure devotee completely manifests his transcendental consciousness through his yantra. Whereas a conditioned soul is completely a servant of the contaminated consciousness of this material world. And this contaminated consciousness is also, we have read earlier, the role of super soul is to create this contaminated consciousness. In other words, to facilitate this. Otherwise, in the material world, we cannot have consciousness at all with any details. You can have only plain consciousness. I exist, I exist, I exist. Brahman, that is our original consciousness. My constitutional consciousness. Now, variegatedness, I am this body, I am this, I order sattva-guna, raja-guna, tamo-guna. All these contaminated consciousness itself, we cannot be, it's not originating from the soul. This contaminating consciousness, the different types of consciousness is facilitated by the Paramatma. Paramatma is the one who actually facilitates the different kinds of consciousness of different gunas. And then we go and identify with it, we say, okay, this is mine. That means, even in our contaminated consciousness, even to contaminate our consciousness, we have no freedom to create that consciousness, because this is a consciousness in the material world. Only the Lord, for whom material energy is also, everything is His energy, He can create whatever He wants. So He creates this just like, you see, it's like a robot. Let us say now the scientists are trying to create robots, start doing the different functions of human beings. But that robots, they cannot have consciousness. Super soul can create robots with consciousness. That is what we are all. All the living entities, to the robot mechanism, you add contaminated consciousness, you add consciousness, then it looks like a conscious body. You also identify as, oh, this is me. Identify. For me to identify with this body, first I should get, bodily concept should manifest, because bodily concept is not in the spiritual field. It is not in the transcendental plane. Bodily concept is ignorance. Bodily concept is in the material energy. So bodily identity, I am this body, that idea is in the material energy. That idea is called contaminated consciousness. It's not that I think I am the body. I am the body, consciousness is created, then the soul as a kshetrajna identifies with it. So this is very important to understand how actually the living entity is untouched in one sense by matter. Only by association he is touching. All the variegatedness according to his desire, the Lord is seated in the heart of each living entity, and he smells the desire of the living entity, just like you know, if you're near a flower, how do you smell the aroma of the flower? In the same way, the super soul is seated in every soul along with the soul, and his desires are sensed by the super soul, and super soul, with the help of his agencies, guna, kala, and karma, is creating different kinds of consciousness, and that consciousness I am associating, identifying and associating. So entire material existence is identified pleasure, identified everything, identified rasa, what we have, identified consciousness. It's not my direct consciousness. When my direct consciousness comes, that is different. My direct consciousness, spiritual mind, spiritual intelligence is different. When I am awakened, just like Prabhupada, when he speaks, his direct consciousness, his spiritual mind, his spiritual intelligence is manifest. And therefore that purifies it goes and by submissively hearing him, it triggers our spiritual intelligence and our spiritual mind, it triggers. And his thinking, his feeling, the Acharya's thinking, feeling, when we adopt, then our subtle body also gets purified. Paramatma himself facilitates that purification. Unless that is purified, there is no question of spiritual mind and spiritual intelligence awakening. So, in that sense, entire material existence, the last few verses we have been seeing, how the most key factor for the functioning in the material world is the super soul. One should not think that, okay, this material world is, separated from Krishna. Spiritual world, everything is, because everybody and everything is Krishna conscious, Krishna is prominent everywhere. In the material world also, Krishna is the most prominent person everywhere as the super soul. Only thing is, no living entities are conscious of this fact. But what is the objective truth? Objective truth that I or any living entities, different types of consciousness itself is manifest due to the mercy of the super soul. As we discussed the other day, Prahlad Maharaj was replying to his father, where he got all the power from. His reply was, I get the same power from the same source where you get power. The Upanishad says that the super soul facilitates the living entity's desires, like a friend helps another friend to fulfill its desires. And Prabhupada himself puts this question, if that is so, why the Lord has to allow this, sinful desires in the living entity? If he is a friend, he shouldn't allow the sinful desires. So Prabhupada answers that he is allowing, otherwise if he doesn't allow, there is no meaning to independence. So the entire material existence can also be seen as one type of Leela of the Paramatma for the sake of the conditioned souls, for fulfilling the desires of the conditioned soul. What does it all mean at the plane of feeling? What does the Lord feel? Lord feels that every living entity should be, his amsha, should have absolute freedom. And that freedom in this material world, if it is exercised independent of Krishna, that is governed by law of karma. So karma is only there in this material world, the laws of karma. In the spiritual world, there is only laws of love, pure love. Here it's laws of karma are there. That means earning. Karma means earning. What you earn, you get. The spiritual world, the world of love, what you are given, you take. Mercy. Spiritual world, everything everyone receives in the spiritual world, not by earning, but by kripa, by mercy of others. Mercy, loving mercy of others. Loving mercy of Vaishnavas, loving mercy of Krishna. That is a principle that works in the spiritual world. That is why in the material world also we use the word costless mercy of the Lord, because there is no material cost. There is no cost from the yantra for that mercy. The cost for that is the Lord Himself. So materially it is costless, but it is cost by the Lord Himself. That is costless mercy. Even something one gets through one's own karma, that is also mercy of Lord only, but it is cost mercy. Without Lord's mercy, you cannot get anything. Even karmi cannot get anything. But it is cost mercy. But devotees, they pray for costless mercy. Nothing to do with my karma. Please purify me. Take me back to Godhead. By any amount of karmic circus, you cannot get out of this chakra of identification with this body. You cannot get out. So you need costless mercy of the Lord who is seated in our heart, who will shine that knowledge, transcendental knowledge into our heart. When it becomes clear as to who we are, who God is, what this material energy and what all the living entities are doing, what is actually what is the purpose of this existence? Bhuktaram, Yajna Tapasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. In other words, everything is going according to the plan of the Supreme Lord, including the material world. So by differentiating matter and spirit, oneness of all living entities can be seen. This is not seen with eyes. This is seen with the eyes of transcendental knowledge. It is seen with the eyes of transcendental intelligence. That there is one, there are many souls, but there is only one super soul in all souls. There's a super soul in me, there's a super soul in you, there's a super soul in him, there's a super soul. That super soul is one. So therefore, that itself, there is oneness. There's something common in this body and that body. What is that? Oneness. The super soul oneness. And what is common in the yantra? The energy of the super soul. It has manifest in one way in your body according to your karma, gunakala karma. And in another kind of personality, it is manifest in my yantra as gunakala karma. That means the energy source also is him. The cause of that energy may be my karma, but that energy is coming from the Paramatma. In other words, Prabhupada explains that we are helpless even in the material world. The living entity, the spirit soul, is helpless in all matters, except for the help of the Paramatma seated in each one's heart. Each one, with the help of his Paramatma, is able to pursue this journey of illusion in this material world. So, here, there are bodily differentiation among all varieties of living entities. So Prabhupada explains, this wants to explain that the verse here which says, one who has least discrimination between himself and other living entities is discouraged. And Prabhupada says, yes, bodily differentiation among all varieties of living entities, but a devotee should not distinguish between one living entity and another on that basis. It's all circumstantial. Another way of looking at it is if at all you associate the body with that particular soul, again one can see it is circumstantial, that's all. Next life this body will not, this person will not be having this kind of a body. It is circumstantial. Why should I identify? Suppose you are carrying a red shoulder bag. I mean, if I identify with you as Mr. Red Shoulder Bag, every day you carry a red shoulder bag wherever you go. Then you identify Mr. Red Shoulder Bag. But it is only a shoulder bag. Like that, this body is only a bag. Just like that red color, in the same way, the color of consciousness that I manifest through this yantra is only a temporary, circumstantial bag. And this circumstantial bag keeps changing, but It's an illusion of time. It takes long time, then you have a sense that it is constantly with me. Suppose every day you get a different body. Very easily you will come out of bodily concept of life, isn't it? But what is the purpose? Then you cannot enjoy the body. Then you cannot enjoy the body, I am this body. You want to enjoy, I become this. You want a sense of I become. Suppose by the time half day, one full day you work to become something, next day you are given another body. And you want to become something else. So this, it will not serve the purpose. That Jiva's illusory desires to be facilitated, he has to put in this illusion of Kala, and he has to believe that I am the body, and only he can enjoy rasa. Those who come out of bodily concept of life, their enjoyment is finished in this material world. Afterwards, one cannot enjoy anymore in this material world, because that knowledge is too plain. It looks very silly to enjoy this body. I am not this body. What am I enjoying? Only I'm hoping, I'm anticipating enjoyment in illusion, but all this is illusion. There is not a pinch of rasa that I can get from the body and the mind, material energy. Material energy, you squeeze, nothing comes. Just like a goat's nipple and skin on the neck, you squeeze and squeeze, will there be milk? There won't be milk. This example is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the same way, material energy by different kinds of activities, I want to do this, I want to do that, so many activities you want to do, you want to achieve. I want to have a family, I want to have children, I will get this, then my grandchildren, so many hundreds of desires, the common desires of the living entity. The end of the day, the origin of all that is rasa, he wants rasa, but the end of the day, he doesn't get that rasa except some illusory drop. Because that illusory drop is created, is necessary to keep the living entity going. Just like one earthworm is put in the hook by the fisherman, and that one earthworm the fish gets. It's a fact. So, sukham hi tucham, a little drop of pleasure is kept in this material world, and that is not genuine pleasure. Right? It's an illusory drop, but experientially as good as spiritual pleasure. But substance-wise, it's a different potency. It is not internal. It is not a spiritual potency. Spiritual pleasure potency is another vastu, another energy. The material energy is illusory, just like a camel eating thorns. That kind of pleasure, it is imagining that the pleasure is coming from the thorn, but actually the pleasure is coming from his own blood, which is his own pleasure potency. The taste is of its own blood. So complete dependence upon, we have to, by reading Bhagavatam systematically from first canto to 10th canto, as we go on, step by step we realize, we understand what is this body, what is the soul, what is the super soul, what is the function of the soul in this material body as a conditioned living entity, how those functions are fulfilled by the mercy of the super soul. In other words, by a perfect combination of the soul and the super soul, the existence is running. Living entities are forgetful of Krishna doesn't mean that devotees should forget that Krishna is everywhere, Krishna is involved in the karmi's life also. Our drishti should be different. The Bhagavata's drishti is different. He sees Krishna everywhere, Krishna, everything in Krishna. In this aspect, Krishna is in everything as super soul, and everything is in Krishna as Bhagavan, Krishna as a Sarva Karana Karana. Krishna is Sarva Karana Karanam. That means, everything is come from him. Everything is in him. And in the material world, he comes out again in his different expansion and then finally as a super soul, he is in every atom, every living entity. So he is inside every living entity and he is also outside as Sarva Karana Karana. So nothing is independent of the Lord. This vision of seeing Krishna and Krishna's purpose everywhere, Krishna's scheme of things everywhere, even in the karmis, even in the material world, makes a devotee fearless, because this is a truth. And that is how Prahlad Maharaj was also fearless, because he had that vision. He could very clearly see that the living entities are helpless in this material world. Whatever they are able to fulfill, his father, all the power, all the rasa, everything is my same Lord who is seated inside, is powering him.
You were mentioning today about the contaminated consciousness, and also in earlier class you mentioned that it is one of the 24 elements.
Yes.
So previously I was assuming that we are identifying with the false ego. We have many false egos, but then now you are making a distinction between false ego and contaminated consciousness.
Yeah.
That we are actually identifying with the contaminated consciousness. So can you please explain this?
You are identifying with the first variegatedness of contaminated consciousness is false ego. Contaminated consciousness is consciousness. Consciousness is always a symptom of spirit, right? So how can there be contaminated consciousness? That is why only by facilitation of the super soul he charges the yantra, like robot is had to be charged with a consciousness. So that is contaminated consciousness. Then once it is charged with the plain consciousness, it takes all the variegatedness. The first variegatedness that the contaminated consciousness gets is ego, false ego. And then further differentiation happens.
So Prabhu, you are saying my consciousness, the consciousness which is the symptom of the soul, that is being contaminated by the super soul. And then its variegatedness is the false ego.
No,
so
your consciousness, you are projecting your consciousness, just like you see, you have your consciousness. You are watching a movie, right? You are identifying with the character. You are projecting your consciousness there. But there in the movie itself, there is a plot and somebody, there is a director and everything who has created a meaning in that story. Is it not? That who has created that meaning, another consciousness has created that meaning. Right? And then you are identifying with that. In the same way, the super soul is the supreme director of the entire material energy through his agencies. Not that he is busy, hard working and all those things. He is aloof. But because of his presence, everything is happening. That presence is consciousness. Just like rain is a cause of all vegetation in the forest. This is a beautiful example Prabhupada gives in Bhagavad Gita. Rain is the cause of all vegetation in the forest. At the same time, a mango, he is not differentiate, he is not the cause for some seed to become a mango tree, some seed to become a jackfruit tree. That cause is you cannot put it on the rain. That is due to the seed. But the seed itself could not have become a mango tree. Similarly, my karma by itself cannot create a contaminated consciousness. I need the rain. So Lord is supplying this rain by His presence within the atom and within every living entity. The Paramatma is radiating this consciousness. That is why you create a robot with false ego. Material scientists can create robots, but they cannot create a robot with false ego element. They cannot. They need another living entity to identify itself. That means they need another soul and super soul combination to identify with a robot. Not soul alone. Soul alone cannot do anything in the material world. What it can do? Unless it has senses, it cannot see, right? Cannot hear, taste, smell, right? Unless it has mind, it cannot combine all these things together to create a perception. It cannot create. Because you are Brahman, I purely exist. Aham Brahmasmi. I exist is a plain consciousness of the spirit. Everything else is coming from the material world. So all these things are coming from the material world by the combination of the super soul facilitates all these things.
It is not a separate element in the amongst. You said that 24 elements. One of them is.
It is described in Bhagavatam as the 24th element above false ego.
But it is actually the soul's.
Huh? That is exactly, it's a border thing. It is not, you see, my own consciousness I may identify, but let's say I identify with your consciousness. You have your independent consciousness. I identify and I believe that I am Achyuta. I identify. Can possible? So when I identify that I am Achyuta, now my consciousness is also there, but there is one Achyuta consciousness also there, right? So in the same way, I am identifying that I am this body, but I am this body, contaminated consciousness is facilitated by the super soul. There is a contaminated consciousness, there is an element like that. There is an element like that. So not only your consciousness, in the material world we are able to survive because of my consciousness as well as super soul's consciousness. By a combination of that. Here, Mike. He'll come soon.
You're saying that the soul has absolute freedom, but sometimes we see that I want to do some, how is that freedom actually manifested? At one level it is also said that it's only knower. How does that freedom manifest? Like, okay, I make a choice that I want to do devotional service. So is that an manifestation of that absolute freedom? How much can this absolute freedom be manifested in our actions or in our...
No, to the degree to which we have given the power of attorney to Maya, that much our freedom is decreased, and the cause of that is us only. My absolute freedom, with my absolute freedom only, I gave the freedom to Maya. You take over me. So originally we all have our free will, and our free will we have surrendered to Maya, according to laws of karma. So now I want to fly like a bird, I cannot fly, because I am in a human body. Human body cannot fly, so I cannot fly like a bird. So bird can fly. So we have circumscribed by our past karma, different degrees of freedom we have circumscribed by choosing to associate with the material world. Potentially, we are absolutely free. If you want, you can come out of this circumscribed circle, and then that is what you say when you do punya. As you do punya, your freedom keeps on increasing. As you do papa, your circle becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. You will find that you are so restricted, you are so tightened, and nothing, just for existence, eating, sleeping, for that alone. Finally, only for eating your thing, how to take morning to evening, how to get some food, that's all only concern. No freedom for anything else. This is all papa. When you do papa, your freedom closes. When you do punya, you will have a lot of freedom. And once you misuse that freedom, again you do papa, again you come. So when we have freedom, we should utilize it for spiritual elevation. And then with that is why there is a connection between punya and devotional service. So you need a kind of punya to come out of this also.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
As you were saying, our interaction with any living entity in this world is not an accident. It's based on our past karma and Krishna's sanction. We are interacting we come across people and we deal with them. Also, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Pandita Samadarshinaha. If you don't conform to this, the warning which we read today, as Kapila Dev is saying, what will happen? At a Vyavaharik level, how is it possible to, by Manasa, Vacha, Karmana, not to hurt anyone, and not to discriminate when you are doing certain services?
No, that is exactly what is, recognition of of, if at your heart you see that as differences at the Vyavaharic level, respecting the Paramarthic oneness, it will create a very wonderful effect with other living entities in their relationship. At the Vyavaharic level, respect has to be due respect according to that is the material world. In the previous verse we read about prescribed duties. Prescribed duties, executing the prescribed duties requires discrimination at the Vyavaharic level. Just like Krishna was urging Arjuna that you are a Kshatriya, your dharma is to fight. So there is a discrimination at the Vyavaharic level that you are a Kshatriya, you have to fight. Then he gave him transcendental knowledge at the Paramarthic level. Don't think you can kill all these people. You are not killing. You are not doing. I have already killed them. No, all that Paramarthic knowledge he gave. And he is telling at the Vyavaharic level you have to act the way you have to act. Otherwise, however, by your nature you will act. So these two realities are parallel realities. And if we are aware of this parallel reality, you can even deal with the differences of the other person. Even if you have your enemy, you can take an arrow and shoot him. But at the Paramarthic level, you respect that living entity. This is all circumstantial. I have to do this. I have to do this. Ultimately, the Lord has His own purpose, why all these things are happening. Each living entity's karma is. So we cannot artificially say that everything is one and everything is all those things. We cannot say. That is the greatness of Bhagavatam knowledge. It admits at all levels the truth is admitted, truth is accepted, reality is accepted. You don't deny reality. Reality is something that is within the scheme of the Lord. How can I deny the variegatedness? How can I deny the law of karma? I cannot deny that. But depth of my heart, so in other words, you live in your Paramarthic level and you act at the Vyavaharic level. What you're supposed to do, you do. The first training of that is karmanevadhikarastha. Just see, at the Vyavaharic level, you act. But please understand that I am the ultimate giver of fruits.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In the previous verses, it is said that one who is worshipping a deity without seeing the living entity, in super soul in all living entities, it is like pouring butter into ashes. But here in our temple, we are seeing so many outside devotees are coming. Or I think most of the people, they don't see the aspect that super soul is living in every living entity and all. But they are offering, means they are worshipping the deity also. Means their credit is also, is it like that pouring butter into ashes?
Yeah, they get credit for pouring butter in the ash. They get credit for that. It's not ordinary ash.
And at the next to us, it is saying that the persons who are performing the prescribed duties, they have to worship the deity. But the persons who are not elevated, they have to, in prescribed duties, they need to worship the deity. So unless that person who is not seeing that living super soul in all living entity, even he is worshipping the deity, the super soul is not accepting. So it's how to understand that.
How to understand? The super soul, unless there is bhakti, your actual seva doesn't get accepted by the super soul, but because of the spiritual master's mercy, spiritual master compensates for what you don't have and therefore he accepts it. Don't forget the role of the spiritual master we make our offering to the deity through the super soul, through the Paramatma, through the spiritual master. That is why we say we offer everything through the spiritual master. Otherwise, that doesn't reach him. Because he only takes when there is devotion. And here the spiritual master takes whatever little devotion that you have and he purifies it and offers it to Krishna. Please accept this service for my disciple. So, yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada. Lord says, okay, I will accept. That is one aspect. Another aspect is, the Lord is in the incarnation. Incarnation means Lord is in a material matter body, whether it's the deity or vibration, whatever it is. Incarnation. Those incarnations are not ordinary matter. They are completely spiritualized. Namna Makari Bauda Nija Sarva Shakti. This is applicable even to the deity body. The deity body is also Sarva Shakti. The touching the deity body itself will purify our consciousness. So doing service even without realizing that without having that, if you don't know that if the Lord is all pervading in all living entities and including in the deity, if he doesn't know that, then what is his perception? His perception is in the bodily concept. So he touches the deity, when he treats the deity like a material body, still he will benefit. So therefore, by touching, his consciousness gets purified by continuous touch, by continuous service he gets, provided it doesn't make offenses. Just like in the holy name, you continuously touch you. As long as you don't make offenses, your touching will purify you. When you purify you, once your consciousness purifies, then you see the connection between soul and super soul. That super soul cannot be separated. Super soul is everywhere. Everything is a manifestation of super soul in this material world. So your question is, if I don't have consciousness that to see super soul in everybody, then I shouldn't do deity worship.
How will I elevate unless the deity is not accepting?
So go by the instructions of the spiritual master, because everybody sometimes has started the journey by being ignorant of the Lord everywhere, Lord's presence everywhere. We have all started like that. Every living entity starts like that. So if we don't start like that, the verse says, yes, as a tattva, yes, you will not, he is not accepting it. If there is no another factor in between. That is the principle. But there is another factor in between. Who is that?
Spiritual master.
Spiritual master. Because spiritual master is, therefore it is said that without the mercy of the spiritual master, you cannot peep into transcendence. That means none of your service can even reach Lord Krishna. Grandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.